Welcome to episode 3 of the Uncoached Podcast. Today I have got Tom Watson with me. Tom is one of my old friends and a competitive strongman. Big comps coming up, some big ones that have been by recently. When is the next one's August, right?
Yeah, Hampshire's strongest man, so I'm down your way.
Yeah, I'll be there. I'll be there watching. It's in the diary. Um,
Good.
your comp experience, considering how long you've been training in this sport, like you've only really recently started competing, I would
It's a
say. Do you
weird
think?
one. Yeah, because God, you remember Frat and Jim
Oh yeah,
back in the
sadly,
day.
yes, I
They held an
do.
in-house strongman comp like when I first started training, and I'd like literally just started training strongman. That was 2015. I did
Mhm.
like a few novices in that time, and then I just didn't really do strongman or compete for ages. I was like
Yeah.
still training, but not with any direction. It's only a few years ago when I got back into things, I started competing again. I'm working with Shane Flowers as a coach, and that's just progress is exponential there. So
Yeah.
I'm aiming higher than I thought I ever could, which is a
I've
nice
always
thing.
thought you could aim really high. I remember having conversations like quite early on where it was like obviously we were in quite a toxic gym environment, I would say, when we
I
met.
disagree. Yeah.
In fact, maybe I'll just tell the backstory a little bit.
Yeah,
So,
it's a thing of legend, that place.
yeah, Bratton Gym. So I ended up there as I guess kind of my first period within CrossFit where I just wasn't having a very nice time. And I remember I literally essentially handed in my keys at the CrossFit gym and was
Mm.
like, I need somewhere to just train and just do some like train some clients and just that. And that was just an option that came up. And I was like, right, okay, fine. It's easy. I'll just go there. And I feel like our friendship kind of formed on like you came across as someone that was a bit of a safe person in a space
Yeah,
where,
people weren't as safe.
yeah, it
It's
was a
just
very,
it was an interesting dynamic because I think about a lot of because strongman specifically has exploded in popularity the last 5 years. Like there are so many strongman gyms with a strongman community, and I
Mhm.
think because it was like 10 years ago, this there was still an element of it, but it just wasn't quite the same. And I think you
No,
had a lot more. I don't know how to describe it really without being too blunt.
you can be
Like
blunt, fine.
okay,
This is a blunt podcast.
you just had these like almost bullying personalities where it's
Yeah,
like I'm stronger, I'm better, and it's like
yeah,
yeah, but you're not. Like you're not better just because you're stronger. Like the good thing now is like the community that I train with now. It's a Sheffield Strongman Club in
representing,
Sheffield,
yeah,
where everyone's very very supportive. Like
yeah.
it's not like we're in all direct comparison or competition with each other. It's just a group where
Mm.
everyone gets on, everyone's friendly. You support each other, go to comps, encourage each other. New members come in, they feel welcome. At
Which is a
Fratton,
big thing.
it's a huge thing. Yeah, like at Fratton though, it
Yeah,
was like the absolute opposite. Like
it's
numbers
awful.
dwindled, and it just
Yeah,
became such a negative place to train.
it
You
was
don't want
very
to train.
like, oh, we have this strongman community. We do like the strongman Sundays. And I wasn't into strongman, but I was kind of like, I'm always willing to give everything a try. Like, so I
Oh
was kind of
yeah,
like, oh, I'll try it. I love strength stuff. Like, I'll have a little go. As a female in that gym, or like felt actually unsafe like a lot of the time. And it was kind of like I've got one of those personalities where I will walk in and pretend that like don't fucking mess with me. Like I'm super cocky. I was scared. I hated it. That was
I
all a
can't
front to
blame you.
survive in there.
Like
Um,
I
I
wasn't the
even
most confident person back then either.
no,
So
you were one of the quieter ones, to be honest. And I think again, that's probably why I ended up drifting to your way because it was kind of there was a very big divide, not a divide because everyone was kind of like together, but a
mm.
divide in personalities almost, where it was just like you guys absolutely like I just needed to survive you. Like these are the few people that I can speak to and
Yeah,
actually like trust a little bit that that's okay. It's not gonna
not going to backfire. Yeah, that's
yeah.
the problem though. It's like when you have something like that, that's not. You don't want to be in an environment where you've constantly got to like put up a front because
Yeah.
that's just stressful. And like
Hmm.
when you're training, I'm very big now on like things like recovery, especially when you're constantly stressed.
Yeah.
That's so bad. Just like not just for
Yeah.
recovery, but for your health. the gym's meant to be that place where you can just go and like shut things off for a couple hours, just focus on your training. Or if you have got that social space, when everyone's there, you bounce off each other. It's positive. It's an uplifting place. When
Yeah.
you go in there like in survival mode straight away, like fight or
Yeah.
flight, he's like, you want to get in and out and not really prioritize your training. I look back now and think, what? What were we actually doing there? There was definitely
Yeah.
other options.
It was, yeah, there actually were. But at the time, it didn't feel that way. And I think, like, even with training, I always went in and still got all my stuff done. But there
Yeah,
was an edge on it where, I don't know, if I was trying to go for a PB or something, there was an actual fear of failing it because I know that a lot of the guys would almost be rooting for me to fail because it was kind of like, oh, you're a girl that like does CrossFit. And I'd be like, oh, I really want to try and like go for a PB squat today, but I can't go for it if certain people are in because I know that I can't live it down if I like it should be okay for me not to make it, but it's not okay for me not to make it because it'll be like, oh,
yeah.
you thought you could do that. How funny. Maybe I could have if you weren't there staring at me, like waiting for me to fail.
I think that's why, like a lot of the time now, I like as much as I love training with other people in the gym. If I'm on my own,
Yeah.
it's bliss in a way because then there's literally zero crowd. I don't even have
Yeah.
music on when I train. Like I've come to the gym after work some days. I'm the only one there. There's no
Yeah.
music on, and I'm like perfect. Like
I
there's
understand that. It's
I can just
peace.
literally focus. It's not to say when other people come in like I don't chat to them, but like that little bit of time when you don't have any pressures, anything external that's going to distract you or
Yeah.
bring you down in any way, I'm
Hmm.
all for it. And you just did not have that at Fratton.
I agree with that to one. Even now, I have such a great group of people and a community. A lot of them are London based, so we'll go and do a big training day in London. I
Yeah,
have never, and this is the most supportive group of people I've ever been a part of. I've never had a good session ever because as much as they're all supportive and they're great, like it's too much. But if I have something big that I want to do, I'll go and train with like one or two. But I just can't have this thing, this crowd.
yeah.
Like I can't.
It's like
It's
towing
too
the line a
much.
bit, isn't it? It's like when I've
Yeah.
been to comps before, and like I'm not someone that gets very hyped. Like
Yeah.
I like to stay very calm. Only now have I started using smelling salts, just more as like a mental, it's like it just puts you into that sort of mindset where okay, you sniff it, it's like right, we're focused now. But I'm not like screaming and like slapping myself. And then I was at a comp a couple of years ago. It was like a gym sort of, in a gym like a push pull sort of meet. And someone said to me, "Do you want me to snap you back?" I was like, "No, like absolutely. Thank you for asking, but like, do not do that. I cannot stand it. It's too much stimulation. If you're seeing that, there's like a bell curve where like you've got
Yeah.
like a very fine point of arousal is the weird scientific term they use for it. And if you go past that, then you're in a state of
Yeah.
anxiety. So it's
Hmm.
like trying to toe that line between getting your adrenaline going, your sympathetic nervous system's all sort of triggers. But then if you go way too far, like you're screaming, shouting, and hyping yourself up, you've just put yourself into an anxious state.
Yeah.
And then you just do more damage. Like it's
Yeah. 100%.
you got to find what works, but then
Yeah.
you need the gym and the community. Not everyone's going to understand everyone, but as long as everyone knows that kind of balance that people need,
Yeah.
it's fine. Like you're not pushing someone then to, like you said at Fratton, where you feel like you
Oh.
have to subscribe to a certain mindset. If you're uncomfortable, tough.
Yeah, like you said, not everyone needs the same thing.
Mm.
And I listened to a podcast a while ago that was actually it was a strongman psychologist. I
Yeah,
can't remember his name. I don't know what he's gone on to do because I think this was quite an early podcast. But it was super interesting because he was explaining the whole hype thing, the get mad,
mm.
all of this. It really doesn't work for everyone. And it does work
No,
for some people, but quite likely it's because they've got, you have like a fight, flight, freeze, fear
yeah,
response. If you've got a fight fear response and you get to an anxious state where your response is to like fight, you're then going to be able to pull off quite a big lift potentially with that. If you're like me and your response is to freeze, you're going to do what I have done so many times and stand here with a bar and front rack, unable to jerk it. Because you're just like you're like, my brain is, I'm trying to tell it to jerk and it's just not doing it. And I listened to that and I was like, ah.
yeah.
I get
There's
it. That
nuance
makes
now.
so much sense. And
I,
yeah, it works. Because I know people that will scream and shout before they'll go and do a lift on stage and they do great. And then I'm there like, I, I need to be calm.
Yeah.
I need to be having quite a nice time.
Yeah, I want to have fun. Like, I
Yeah.
think it's changed for me over time, though, strangely, because like when I first started getting into like especially strength training, like my best lift is my deadlift, and when that was progressing like early days, like really fast, because of the people I was around in that gym, like they were like, "Yeah, you need to scream and shout," and I was doing that and feeling like it was actually helping. And if you go, it's like one of the first videos on my Instagram, like 10 years ago. I pulled a deadlift PB and the form is god awful. Like it takes about 3 seconds to get off the floor, goes to my knees, and I hitch the shit out of it so bad. Like so bad. Because I was more focused on like being hype than
Yeah.
actually executing the lift.
Hmm.
Whereas now, like if I'm talking like as a lifter, as an athlete, I've definitely matured in
Yeah.
terms of like my approach to things. And I credit a lot of that to my coach as well, he because Shane Flowers, he's got a master's in. I'm going to get it wrong, and if he sees it, I'm going to feel bad. I think it's like physiology or something to do with the body. I skim past that, but he's sort of taught me directly and indirectly a lot about mindset, and like
Yeah.
I've got to this point now where, to me, my main focus is progress. This is the thing I love doing. I want to progress it. I don't have a set goal, but I don't care about the number on the bar anymore.
Yeah.
Like he's like just what I've learned from him is just it's about the movement and the execution of the movement. Your body doesn't actually know what a kilogram is. So
Yeah.
when you're like early days, you get so hyped up on certain numbers because they are milestones. Like
Yeah.
everyone says, like like a 2 plate bench, 3 plate bench, a 5 plate deadlift. Yeah, it's fun in a way to chase those early numbers, but you get to a point where it's so taxing just to
Yeah.
constantly think about numbers, especially when you want to start competing. You've just got to think about yourself. And it's like
So
just trying to not be in that constant, like, let's get hype every session because it's draining. It's so draining to be in that state constantly. I
yeah.
just want to chill. Like with everything that's like in my whole life in the last like 10 years, time to chill. I want to
Just
do what I
chill.
enjoy and just chill. If I want to pull a massive deadlift, like and RPE 11 full on grind, I'm gonna chill before I do it. I don't even shout after a lift. Like I'll just put it down, and be like, oh, did it. A mental thumbs up, and I can sit back down again.
I agree with everything you've said. And in theory, yeah, the kilos don't matter. Your brain doesn't know what a kilo is. Like, that makes so much sense. But in practice, that is such a hard mental adjustment. Is
Oh yeah.
there anything that you had to put into practice to make that change, do you think?
Do you know what? It's one of these things. What's the term? You ever heard of? I might be like defining it wrong, but cognitive reframing. So
Yeah.
you're looking at things like trying to spin like your perspective on certain things, like from a negative to a positive, and it's like that where uh, a good example is the conditioning that Shane has me do. It's miserable. It's genuinely horrific. Like
I've seen a little sneak of it.
a few weeks ago, and this was like 3 weeks in a row. I was on the air bike, or the assault bike, and it was to do a 40-calorie sprint as quick as possible. Rest 4 minutes, do a 30-calorie sprint. Rest 2 minutes, 20-calorie sprint, a minute, 10-calorie sprint. I look at that and think, okay, the numbers are quite small. That should be fine. It's not. But then I got to try and tell myself, it's not about saying like, oh, I'm going to hate doing it, but I have to get it done. It's like I want to get it done because it's going to help me get to my goal. And my
Yes.
conditioning has got a lot better. My recovery has got a lot better. So over time, you start to look at this thing as not like a necessary evil,
Yeah.
but it's just part of the process. Like it's
Mhm.
not even like learning to love it sometimes. Because I still like when we change it up. Like yesterday, it was do a 25-calorie sprint, rest 60 seconds, do 4 rounds of that.
Yeah.
It's so hard. Like I'm not loving it, but I'm thinking actually, yeah. Do you know what? I want to do it though because it's what I want. It's gonna help me
Yeah.
reach my goal. So I think it's just looking at things in a different perspective and just people say like take it back, like remember why you started.
Yeah.
Like if you're hating it and you're not enjoying it, like what are you trying to prove? Like that's just more damaging mentally and physically. Whereas if you can just reframe it a bit and just think, actually, yeah, I started for this reason because I want to put a certain weight or I want to compete at a certain comp. And these are all like little steps that are going to help you get there. It's progress is fun. It's like, remember the early, like when you very first go to the gym and it's like no one has any program or even a clue what things like linear progression or like
Yeah.
periodization is. No one knows. You just go to the gym and you just like lift weights,
Do some things. Yeah.
and then you lift a bigger weight the next week, and it's like, oh, okay, this is good. This is good.
Yeah.
You can't do it forever like that, but like it's just that like start where it's fun. You just do it because you enjoy it, and it's just trying to keep that mindset, but reframing it to what you're doing now. You know, whether you're peaking for a comp, you're just maintaining for something, whatever your goal is, it's just remembering it's the progress that you enjoy.
There's a lot of like super healthy stuff that I'm hearing here that is quite refreshing because I think it's a commonly missed part of coaching. Like a lot of people think that the coach's job is just programming some sets and percentages and
Yeah.
like maybe giving you the odd cue. But actually, if you have a competitive athlete, their headspace is likely gonna make or break a performance. Once the strength work is done, there's something that is almost way more powerful that is
Oh yeah.
gonna determine
Well,
that outcome.
I'll tell you two good things actually about working with Shane. I've been working with him for a couple of years now, and I think his approach to things is very blunt, which is how I quite like it. A lot
Yeah.
of the times on my conditioning, there'll be a bit saying, "Just don't be a bitch, just do it. It's gonna suck, just do it." And it's like,
Yeah.
yeah, true, it is gonna suck. I'm gonna just do it. But what he also did was he's got us all on WhatsApp in a group chat, like all his clients, and I've made friends through that. Like, it's not just some of them we just chat like one to one on Instagram as well, but it's like having it's like a little community with that same thing in common, where
Yeah.
we can just joke about our programming sometimes. But when we see like certain athletes, Ben Glasscock, he coaches, he came on with Shane. He just come 10th at England's. He's now competing this Saturday at Giants Live in
I'll
Royal
see him
Albert
there.
Hall. Yeah.
I'll
So
go in.
we've seen that progress in real time, and then you think he's learned from Shane, we learned from him. It's all very, very positive. Like that's just one
Yeah.
example. But when you've got that, and then the in-person support as well at the gym, you can't really look at any negatives. And if there are any, it is completely outweighed by what you have. And I think
Yeah.
that's the thing that Stratton Gym could have been, because our gym, it's called Structure in Sheffield, Structure Sport and Fitness. It's not just strongman. Like we recently merged with a powerlifting gym, SSPC, but they brought a lot of their kit over, like proper nice, like calibrated plates, machines. But a lot of their members too came over. We've got new kit at the gym, um, more members, more space. It's just like because it's not a commercial gym either. Like
Mhm.
a lot of it is also funded through members. Like I've brought my deadlift bars there, and I've said like
Yeah.
people can use it. Just go use it. I don't care. I don't want anything for it. It's just nice to have people feel welcome, and you just build just a positive space for everyone. Like
Sounds
even
like
when we've had a crap
perfect.
day, it, to be honest, it is like when I think about when I was living back in Suffolk with my family, didn't have anything like that. It was like there was a pure gym down the road, a pure gym local, so it wasn't even like one of the proper big ones.
Yeah.
So I really didn't have any chance to jump on strongman stuff. But
No.
then here, I've made the most of it all. Like I'm very, very grateful.
It looks great. I've only seen on Instagram. Hopefully, at some point soon, I will be visiting. I've said a few times down here, I would love to try strongman. A lot of my strengths in Olympic lifting and like anything else I've done point to like that's something that I would be quite good at.
Yeah.
But down here, there just isn't a play. Like, I would almost have to sign up to a comp hoping that some basic things like a deadlift would come up and then I would not have any idea of what I could do of like an atlas stone. I don't know
Mm.
if I can clean like people are like, oh, your clean's good, you'll be fine with the axle. Like, I can't grip the thing. I can't grip the fucking thing.
You
So
can't Olympic clean an axle either.
no, true, you have to do a like
It's called a
a
continental
thing.
clean.
That's
Yeah,
it.
like
Yeah.
onto your torso, then onto your into a rack
Yeah.
position. I mean, a lot of that is kind of part of the fun of strongman, though, is trying to figure stuff out. Some comps
I'd
will
just
have like a
rather figure it
mystery
out
event.
in the gym before the comp.
Yeah, yeah, that's fair. For something like an Atlas Stone, I think it's best to because obviously, if you've never touched one, I see people like try and scoop it, and it's like all your biceps. Like, don't do that, please. Whereas then, if it's any strongman comp is going to have some sort of deadlift event, there'll be some sort
Yeah.
of overhead event. if it's like a basic carry, like a farmer's walk, it's you can pick that up on the day quite
That would be
quickly.
fine.
If
Yeah.
it's something like a sandbag carry, there's a few different ways you can carry it. There'll be different sizes, different shapes. But you'll see at Hampshire's when you come, like they're quite basic events, but there's going to be so many different ways people adapt to it. Weight
Yeah.
class athletes tend to do things differently to open weights. A lot of them will like do split jerks for overhead. A lot of open weight guys, some are doing it now. It's got more popular, but you'll see a lot more just standard push pressing or even strict pressing with some guys. But that's
How
just
do
part
the
of the
weight
fun.
classes work? There's not many, right? There's not like every 5 kilos or 10 kilos is a
I
thing.
think
There's like a
if
few.
you go by official strongman, so they on their website they host the official strongman games. So that's like international, um, like world's strongest under 70, under 80, like that. So I think for the men,
Oh, okay.
it's under. I think there's an under 70, but I could be wrong. But then there's under 80, under 90, under 105, and then opens. But in Britain now, um, there's a big rise now in under 120, which is actually quite good because it bridges that gap between being 105 and then being an open weight, which could be
105
anything.
doesn't feel that heavy for a male strongman. If
It
you think
depends,
that
yeah.
Olympic weightlifting, we've got 110, so 110 plus. And even in that, like there's some guys that are scraping 110 that I'm like, you're not that big. Like, obviously,
It
because
really
they're strong and
skews.
it's muscle,
Yeah,
it's not, it doesn't feel like a huge, like for it to be a super, like that doesn't, like there's a woman in the supers that's like 150 kilos.
there's a
I don't know.
massive gap, isn't there? I think a lot of it
Yeah.
comes down
So
to leverage, though, because I don't know if you remember him, but he was at Fratton a bit, Josh Wright.
I think
You
vaguely.
probably
I
won't
don't think I.
recognise him now because I mean, he's one of my best mates. Like we chat all the time. He got into equipped powerlifting, and when we first met at uni and at Fratton, I think he was like pushing 70 kilos body weight, and he's about 5'8", I think, and he's now pushing 110, and he just looks massive. Like
Damn. Yeah.
he is massive. Like you think that's 40 kilos he's put onto that frame. But
Yeah.
then when I was competing at the England's qualifiers back in April, I'm usually round about 125,
Yeah.
but I am a bit taller. But then there's guys around
Not
me who are
taller.
like just a bit. But then I feel like there are guys who are like, well, it's not all about body weight. But then when you see some people who are like 140, 150, you think, God, you actually hold that really well. Because everyone now is a lot more on it with things like cardio and conditioning. You can't
Yeah.
just be heavy. Like it's not about being heavy.
That's something I've noticed a huge, like as an outsider to the sport, I've noticed a huge change in that, like the weight
Yeah.
and the conditioning side of things.
Which
Huge.
I think Shane calls it the old fat guy fry up mentality, where it's like just
Yeah.
get big, eat loads of food, eat shit food. Whereas now, people are eating. They've got nutritionists, a lot of them. If
Yeah.
you're eating, five, I mean, I'm on about 5,000 calories a day right now, but I'm really making sure that it's as clean as can be. So, like, I do track things, like especially sugars and
Eating
fats.
that clean's like hard.
It's it depends how you do it. Like breakfast, 200 grams of oats with a banana, some sunflower seeds, and honey. And I use skim milk now, just to cut out a bit of fats because it just dairy and fats. If you're eating that much, your digestion doesn't need that sort of what's the word? It's bad to digest that much, yeah. But that's about 1,200 calories in a bowl, and it's like relatively clean.
You have to be able
But
to eat it, and then like you have to eat again in a bit, and like it's just
your
it's
body
really
your body
hard.
adapts to it surprisingly well, though. Like I remember I think when I first started, like thinking, oh, okay, I'm going to gain some weight, like 10 years ago, whatever. I was like, oh, I'm going to eat 3,000 calories. That's so much food, and it still is because like your perspective does get very skewed in this sport. But then
Yeah.
your body will tell you what it needs. It's like
Yeah.
if you're eating 5,000 calories a day and you're peaking for like the heaviest comp you've ever done, your body is going to say like, God, just fuel. We need fuel right now. But I think it's interesting just to that whole point about things being skewed. Like when you're talking about weight classes, no other sport would you say a 105 kilo athlete is small. Like when you think about, I think boxing, that's one of the
Oh,
heaviest weight classes.
boxing is fucked.
Is it?
I recently have been side questing a little bit. So I've done some boxing, kickboxing, and Muay Thai.
Yeah.
And I think I think Muay Thai was the worst. In fairness, it's based in Thailand. They are smaller. But I think the women's, I might be completely wrong. Like someone's probably watching this like, well, that's wrong. But the maximum to be a super was like 70 odd kilos. And I was like,
Okay,
oh, oh, okay.
a whole different
And it
world.
might have been less than that. It might have been 60 something. But it was something that I looked at this number and I was like, well, I can never then. That's
Yeah, that's like the smallest weight class here.
yeah. Then like, I was looking at these weight classes and I was like, can I never eat again? I
You got
just
a
don't
cut to be a super
understand.
heavyweight there.
Yeah, like I don't know. And I was thinking about if I ever went into the ring and like the thing is I'm quite dense. Like I weigh a lot for my size and a lot of people when they see me in a category like they're kind of like that can't be correct. And I'm like, oh no it is. Thank you, but yep, I'm heavy. Imagine me walking into the ring and you just know I'm not going to get someone else that's like me. I'm going to get the trunchable. Like I'm going to get like somebody who is significantly bigger and more terrifying than myself because we're the same category
Just to
apparently.
make it a
And like
matchup, yeah, fair
I
matchup.
don't want to play that game.
Yeah, I think that's where I don't like any sort of like direct competitive sports like that because it's
Yeah.
such a big psychological thing as well. Where like you look at some like talking from a strongman perspective, like you look at a guy and think some 6'5" giant, like oh crap, okay, but it's not about size.
No.
And to be fair, I'm not an expert with combat sports at all, but I've seen a few fights like where the much smaller guy has just dominated because it is at the end of the day still down to technique. There is
Yeah.
a isn't that really old? It must be about 10 years old now, where Hafthor Bjornsson is sparring Conor McGregor, and like the
Oh,
size
I've not
difference
seen
is
this.
it's from like 2014, I think. So obviously it wasn't even peak Thor, but the size difference is it's like a kid fighting his dad,
Yeah.
and like that's why weight classes exist because although it was just like a light, fun sort of sparring thing,
Yeah.
you just think if one actual punch from that man connected, that's it. Like it's
Yeah.
you're done. So I think if you're in the same sort of weight category, you know what sort of abilities people are going to have. That's why I try and always look at like I think I just get a lot more analytical with things now, just as like a defense to not psych myself out too much. I know my numbers, what I can pull, what I can lift, and I see someone bigger and think, oh, okay, like it doesn't matter what you look like, it's what you can do. Then you don't get punched in the face in the strongman comp. Like I feel like
No,
that would
that's
throw me completely.
yeah,
But
it's a whole other thing.
you haven't got to look at the person competing next to you either. So you can just literally just tunnel vision it,
Yeah,
zone out for a minute.
that's so true. I think with that as well, you literally have no control over what someone else can do. Whereas technically, any of the like kickboxing, boxing, there are mistakes that you can make that can then make them land something or they can escape what you've had lined up. Whereas in strongman or any of the strength sports that kind of we do or have done, it is just do the best you can. And you kind of have to go in and just remember to do that because if you're worrying about what the guy next to you is doing, that's just distracting from you doing what you're doing.
Thing is, if you really want to get tactical with it, you can. For me, I've got a comp in September, which is a max. The first event is a max raw deadlift. So like
Okay.
immediately, I know my track record. I'm probably going to be top two or three on
You've
that.
got a big deadlift.
But it just means I get to go toward the end on the next
Yeah.
event, so I can watch what everyone does. And I think, well, if this guy blitzes it, I'm never going to catch him. But this guy who came potentially third, I've just got to get in between. So I don't
Mm.
actually have to go balls out and, you know, drain myself of energy. I can just be a little bit more tactical
Yeah,
and it should be enough. But then
that's true.
the other one for me is like my overhead is kind of trash for the level I'm at. So it's like, okay, slightly more nervous now because I pretty much always need to go all out on that, which can get a bit, it's daunting in a way because like I know how good the standard is. In
Yeah.
fact, one of the guys I competed with, Jack Osborne, he's been at England a few times. In training, he just vipered, I think, a 205 kilo log. That might be the heaviest log ever vipered. And it's like, oh, okay, I'm on the same platform as you. So I'm not going to come close to that. So there's not even any point worrying. I'm
No,
not a 200 kilo log presser. So I don't need to worry. I mean,
you'll get
we spoke,
that.
didn't we, about my overhead and
Yeah.
my leg drive.
Yeah. The lack of using it.
The lack of,
Yeah.
it's so weird. It just does not click. Like deadlifting comes very naturally to me. Picking up a sandbag comes very naturally to me. Overhead, it's like my brain just shuts off. Every week is different. It's like, well, hang on. How come I did that with my knees last week, but this week I forgot to use them? Just, it's so confusing. I think I felt bad for Shane, like when I was in my last prep, where nearly every week I was like, look, I didn't have a hissy fit at the gym, but it didn't go to plan. I had a mini tantrum, but
Very fair.
yeah, it happens every week, only when I'm doing log press. But that's consistency. Consistently angry at log press. But I don't give up. That's the main thing. I don't give up with it.
And also, like, it will click. It's just finding different things, right? And you'll
Yeah.
find it and it will click. And because it's not the strength, your ratios of like strict to push press, for example, you're obviously strong enough. And like, if you add in like your leg strength and stuff, you can do more. It's just finding that thing that clicks to make
My
you move
stricter
more
push is like
efficiently.
nearly a 1-to-1 ratio at the moment. It doesn't
It's
make
quite
any
wild.
sense.
But it just shows how strong you are, though. If we look at the positive, like you're really fucking strong. Technique is kind of the easy bit because when you find the thing that clicks for you, then you've got it.
By the time I'm 40, it might have clicked. I've got all my 30s to figure that out. And then by that point, my deadlift will hopefully just fly up and my log will be,
Where is your deadlift now?
I don't know really. I
Okay.
pulled 365 in May after the comp. So it was like I was peaked, but I was a bit fatigued.
Yeah.
But I'd be lying if I said I wasn't thinking about 400 a lot. Because I think I'm tempted, like after I've got Hampshire's, I'm competing at, which is a 300 deadlift for reps. We're not going to use a suit for that either. You can, but we're just going to go raw. And then Wiltshire's, which is 2 weeks after, has a max raw deadlift, and it's no figure eights either. So it's just like regular deadlift straps. So I think if I can pull like 370, then I might talk to Shane and say, like, I've got nothing else for the rest of the year. Maybe go for like a little deadlift peak.
400 is unimaginable.
Yeah, it's one of those things though. I am visualizing it. Like I do think a lot about doing it, and I think if I let myself have enough time of sort of visualizing that, when it comes to it, everything's planned. I've already planned the jumps that I'd take, for
Yeah.
example. So like, if 400's the goal, I'd make 370 or 375 the last warm up, 350 before that, 320, 300, and then whatever my warm ups are before that. Like I've already got it planned. It's
Yeah.
just I need to do it. I need to be strong enough to do it. So, and I'm very now. I'm very. What's the word? I hate deadlift suits. I think deadlift
Okay.
suits are silly, and I don't like
Okay.
them. So I
I've
don't
never tried one, but I
just
do. I'm just kind of like,
if it's in the rules, yeah, fine. Like I
yeah,
had my single ply deadlift suit on at the England's qualifier. I think because of the way I lift, my hips are quite high. I don't really get a lot from it. I've tried a multiply suit once, like literally once, and I hated it. Like it was very assistive, and I just think suits now are so assistive. I just love a raw lift. Like
yeah.
if it was like a Giants Live where the world deadlift champ or something, yeah, okay, just sod it. Chuck a multiply suit on. Let's see some 1,000 pound deadlifts because it's cool.
Yeah, of
But like
course.
at this level, it's like I just think everyone should be raw. Like,
Yeah.
because I see a lot of people now, even in like novice comps, using multiply suits. And I think, what's the point? Because you see the bar, like, it will fly up to their knees, and then they'll have to sit back and hitch it because they
Oh,
haven't been
okay.
exposed to those weights raw. And it
Yeah.
just means their lockout and that overall like hinge sort of pattern just isn't quite there,
Oh,
especially
so
at
it really
novice
changes
level.
it.
It completely changes it because they're most assistive off the bottom of the lift. So you'll find like it's hard to describe when you haven't worn one, but like when you sit back, so you take the slack out and you're sitting back, it's almost like someone's pushing you back, but you've really got to fight to push back.
Mm.
Because like
Okay. I must admit, I'm
Sometimes
now curious to try.
they're fun for a session where it's like if you're the session I used a multiply suit on, I was meant to be using my single ply, and someone had a multiply and said, "Do you want to just try it?" I was like, "Oh, go on then." Miserable, by the way. It was painful. I could
Yeah.
barely get down to the bar. And I was supposed to be doing clusters where it was 290 for a triple, and I rest for 20 seconds, then do it for another triple. And like when I sat back from the first rep, I felt so tight, like all that energy. I just sprung up. It's like, well, hang on. Like, this felt a bit too easy. Like, I just, fair play for people that can master a suit and get a good number out of it. But like, it's not fun for me. Like,
Yeah.
I'm not one of those people that says it doesn't count because, it's not as assistive as like a squat suit or a bench shirt. But I just think raw is law. Like, just
Yeah.
no suit. Obviously, strongman, you can use straps, but it's just purely a test of like your hamstring posterior chain.
I
There's
think for
no,
me, if I said to somebody like, "Oh, what can you deadlift?" I expect the answer to be a raw answer. Like if they give
mm.
me a number and then I find out it was in like a suit or something like that, I'm kind of like, I feel misled.
It's like people would definitely clarify if they used a squat suit or a bench shirt because
Yeah.
because you've got the eccentric part of the lift, they'll give you a lot more spring. So I think like the multiply bench record is like pushing 600 kilos. No one's benching that raw, obviously.
What?
It's a
Yeah.
guy called Jimmy Kolb. He's like, I don't follow equipped powerlifting too much. But Josh, he knows all about it, and he said like this guy is the goat of like equipped benching. But our gym actually, when SSPC merged with us, a lot of them train equipped. Like they are equipped powerlifters. Like they
Hmm.
compete in equipped federations, and it is impressive because like
Yeah.
the way I look at it, I've heard this example before. You think about the two sports of a high jump and a pole vault. Same goal is to jump the highest, but one you
Yeah.
get a bit of equipment to help you get over.
Yeah.
And it's the same thing with that. Like I've never used a bench shirt or a squat suit, but they're so difficult to actually lift in. Like what
Yeah.
guy at our gym, Ed, he was benching like I think 240 in a shirt. You unrack it, and obviously at the top there's no assistance. That's just pure strength support, and that like you can feel it in like your bones, they say. But like when you go down, obviously the shirt's then going to start building up that tension. But you have to stick to the bar path because if you get out of line, it's either going to fall forwards or fall back on your face. So
God.
you've really, really got to control it and push it up in a controlled. It's tough. Like I give him credit, but in strongman, I just think make it raw.
Yeah.
Like just make it raw. It's easier. Like I don't want to be faffing around getting in a suit as well. Like a single ply suit's easy to get into, but I just don't want that. I don't want the
I
hassle.
get annoyed enough that I will not snatch in knee sleeves. Like I don't know how people do it. So
Getting
I will
these sleeves
snatch. Yeah.
because some people's knees are terrible.
I can't. It's the way up, right? When it's coming up your shin, there's something about it when it like just hits the little flit, it just goes blip, and I'm like, no, I can't, like it's thrown, I'm not gonna make this lift now, like I can't, I'm distracted. It does it in the clean, fine. I can't explain that. I just don't, I can't have it in the snatch. So I already get a little bit irritated that I'll come off from finishing snatch and I'll have to change into my knee sleeves. That is literally the most effort I'm willing to commit to like equipping something, let
So
alone
like
getting into a full suit or something.
yeah, the multiplier ones, you often see guys like they'll get pulled into it and then dangle off of a bar, just trying to like shimmy themselves into it, and then
Can't
have
be
someone
asked.
strap them in. I can't be asked. But I tell you what, though, I bought a pair of knee sleeves from Cerberus before my last comp. I didn't wear them in the end, but I will be wearing them for one event in Wiltshire's. They're called competition sleeves, and they are incredibly stiff. Like, and I thought, oh, okay, that's what I want, a bit of support. But genuinely, right? I got them on. I was training in them once, and like when you sweat, it's harder to get sleeves off. I physically could not get them off. Like, no matter how hard I pulled, they were
Oh my
so
God.
stiff. Like, I've got a really heavy yoke at Wiltshire, so I'm going to use them for that. But like, I had to actually get up a size because I think the knee sleeves that I bought recently from Cerberus, they're like a dual ply, not a stretchy one. I think are an XL, and they're easy to get on and off. with those competition ones, I bought 2XL and it didn't even go past my calf. Like there is no give. So I bought
Yeah.
3XL and I had to like feed straps through the sleeve and like have my legs stretched out against the wall and then push against the wall while I'm pulling it to get it on. And then it's even, I thought, sorry, they're on now. I just bought
Yeah.
them for one event and I just think, what's the point?
Just to get them on.
Yeah, I'm going to have to ask someone for help to get them off because I can't get them off myself. They'll be worth it, I hope.
Hopefully.
They're just belt straps, knee sleeves. That's all you need.
Yeah. Agree. Agree. I don't even like straps, honestly. They annoy me. But for certain like
That's
heavy
fair.
pulls and stuff, they're necessary, like obviously. But yeah, knee sleeves, belt, lifters, I guess, if that counts.
Yeah, I'm wearing the same pair of lifters that I bought from, do you remember Andy from Portsmouth?
Yeah, of course.
But I'm wearing a pair of lifters that he sold me for like 20 quid back
Oh,
in Bratton days. I still
gee.
have the same belt from when I started at the gym, like day one. Like that
Wow.
belt has lasted about 12 years.
I've been for a few.
Right
I
for
can't
life.
give that kind of testimonial for mine,
I'll
unfortunately.
tell you what, I'm jealous of one of the ladies at our gym. You know, SBD, their headquarters is in Sheffield. A few of them at the gym that train like, and compete in like roller derby. And they got a tour. I can't remember exactly why, but they got a tour of the SBD factory. And she just casually mentioned that she was like needing a new belt. They just gave her an SBD belt for free.
Oh,
They're like, there you go. 220
jealous.
quid they are. I was like, what? They just gave it to you for free. I was like, okay, I'm going to try and book a tour and just casually drop in that my belt's old.
You should actually. And if
I'll
they
just
don't
rock
offer
up
you
one
one, be
day.
like, excuse me.
What are you lying about?
I got a new one at English Champs in December, and I don't know if you've seen my old one, just completely sequined.
I think so.
I got a new version, the same, but bright pink, just bright
Oh, yeah.
pink sequined. It's unreal. And then I also got new knee sleeves. I had these two things, and I was like, I could lift the earth right now. I'm going to be so strong in these things. You have no idea. Before I've even got to really play with them, I hurt myself. So they're just sat through that, and it's so sad. I'm looking at them like, I don't have anything to belt for. I can't do anything
But
big.
when you get the chance, it's
Yeah,
going to be even better, isn't it?
it is. I've waited so long to use those things, and they're
How's
so
the
pretty.
recovery going for that? Because was it your ligament, wasn't it, in your ankle?
Yeah, terrible.
Is it still bad?
Yeah, so I essentially was going to do my first year of European Masters this year. And then in the run up, I stepped off a box and dislocated my ankle, ripped a couple of ligaments. Because I have a really rare genetic condition, it doesn't heal like a normal human, and it just didn't heal for ages. And then I kept going back. I got referred on to a specialist because I was just like, it's not getting better. And they're like, oh, I think the ligaments are probably fine by this stage. Like, it'd be really unusual if they weren't. Like, obviously, you're trying to walk now and stuff, which is good. I know myself really well. This isn't okay. There's still a problem. They're like, no, no, be patient. Eventually, because of all the nagging, sent me for an MRI. Only got the results back last week. It is hanging on by a thread. Like, one of the ligaments is almost completely
Oh,
torn
wow.
through. The tendon on the other side is now very damaged, which I don't know if it was originally damaged or whether that is from overcompensating because it's been
Yeah.
so injured for a while. Um, yeah, essentially I'm not I'm not doing too good. I'm not going to be back to anything anytime this year.
Well, time to be a bench specialist or something.
Yeah, I think mentally I needed this break.
That's
Like
how you got to look at it, though.
yeah, I was
It's a
not
break for your mind and body
yeah,
longevity.
yeah. I was not in a good place, not at all with training, really, really bad. And I've had a few months where I've kind of appreciated the things that I can do. Just boring stuff, strict press and bench press. I can push this, so I'm going to do it and I'm going to appreciate being able to make progress on those. And I think, yeah, it's been good for my mindset. I would maybe like it to have been a little less dramatic. Like if I could start adding a few more bits in at this stage, that would be nice because it's been nearly 6 months. But yeah, there's
Oh,
positives.
but you've got to look at the positives because like it's not the same extent at all. But last year I did the England's qualifier and I was so
Mhm.
excited for it. Like I was ready. Thought the events are good for me. It's my first big comp. It's live streams. I'm ready to go. Very first event, my best event being deadlift for reps, and I tore my lat. Like I just
I
felt
remember I was
on the
gutted.
fourth rep, I just felt a crunch, and I was like, oh, hang on. And then thankfully, Shane was there. Some friends I knew were there. Josh was there as well, which definitely helped, like with mindset, because
Mm.
I've got a great history of spiraling at everything. But having people there to just stop that, like Shane
Yeah.
immediately was like, "We'll just get a rehab protocol sorted." Josh was like, "Oh, we're still going to go out for a drink after." Like we barely see each other in person as well. So like
Yeah.
just having positive people around you, and like you said, like you're grateful for what you can do still. So like
Mm.
I could still get to the gym, I could still do things. I
Yeah.
just couldn't start lifting heavy for a month or so.
Yeah.
And it will be the same for yourself. Like you're adapting and just still going and doing different things. Because if you didn't, we just think like it could spiral further
Yeah, I'd be
and be
going
more
insane
negative.
at this point.
Yeah. So it could be worse.
It
It's
could
not always what
be.
you want to hear though either when people say, "Oh yeah, it could be worse." It's like, yeah, but it could be better. It
Yeah,
could
the
be a
thing is,
lot
like,
better.
I had worked for several years towards this goal, and when I say like the end of last year, I was like crying every single session. Like I was so unhappy, but I was like, I've got this goal. I'm so close. I can do it. And then the second I stepped off that box, I heard it snap. I was just lying there, and I should have been gutted because all of this was coming up. I was so relieved because I was like, I I don't have to do any of this now. And it's
It's
like,
pressure, isn't it? Do you
yeah, the
think you were
fact
though
that,
putting too much pressure on yourself for it?
oh God, yeah, yeah, terribly. Like, I'm really bad for it.
I can relate because I think when I started working with Shane, I held myself to such a stupidly high standard where nothing was ever good enough. And
Yeah.
like when you have things like that happen, like I don't know, I think at work one day when I was living down in Chesterfield, we had a massive flood, and I just couldn't get to the gym for a couple of days, and it was like, actually, that's all right. I'm just gonna sit and mope for a day. Like as long as you don't draw it out too long, but like when you start to put that pressure, because what if things were different? You didn't injure yourself, but you stayed in that mindset.
Yeah.
You competed, but you were still in that mindset. Like, would you have actually benefited?
No.
Like, if
And
you,
I think I was doing a lot of the reason I was still pushing towards this stuff wasn't for myself at this point. It was because I wanted to prove other people wrong about me or people that didn't think I could do certain things. It's kind of like a fuck you, yes, I can.
yeah,
And I was actually having a conversation with one of my other friends, very similar, because he's now in the same mindset that I was in then. But it's like, if those people are that way inclined, if they have those thoughts about you, they're going to have them anyway. It doesn't matter how
exactly.
much you succeed, they're still going to say something. So that doesn't matter. They're irrelevant. And it's like, with it being in that mindset, like I would have gone, so I'd have gone to Albania for Europeans. Oh, I've qualified for that. Great. That was my goal. But when I get there, it's no longer going to be like, I just wanted to qualify. It's going to be like, oh, well, I didn't podium. Maybe next time I could podium. And then it's like you come third and it's like, oh, well, I didn't come. Two people beat me though. I didn't win. Like maybe, and it's like, it would have been a very like unfulfilling, just constant drive for the next thing.
Yeah, you're
Whereas I
not.
think now I can legitimately say, like, if I get back to a stage where I can do that, I will be so appreciative that I've
Oh
just been
God,
able
yeah.
to do that. Whereas I was lying to myself saying that before. Like, that was never going to be my goal. I was just saying that was my goal. Whereas now I'm like, that would be a goal.
You're not stopping to smell the roses, are you? Like it's the journey. It's like I said earlier. Like it's sounds quite cliche, doesn't it? But like it is the journey.
Yeah.
Like because if I got told, you can just instantly by tomorrow take a pill, you'll be at world's strongest man tomorrow. It's like, well, great, but like, would I have earned it? No. Like, would I have had the
Yeah.
fun of actually like working towards that? No. And I think when you, because I've been the same where for a long, long, long time, I didn't do things for me. It's
Mm.
like you're either doing it to prove someone else wrong or doing it to, I don't know, almost like punish yourself in a way.
Yes.
Because do you remember? Because I don't remember all of it. A few years ago, I was in my little depression era, the bad times. I didn't actually.
Depression era, yeah.
Oh yeah, what an iconic era! It was. I can laugh about it now, but I didn't actually live for 6 months. Like I was so bored and burnt out of everything. I was definitely spiraling as well, and
Mhm.
like mental health going down. I wasn't turning to the gym, and I think a part of it is that I didn't have that gym community. It's like the thing you love the most, but then who do you have to share that with? I
Yeah.
didn't have anyone, and I was just doing like wow, what wasn't I was fucking drinking every day. I was getting high every day. I was doing
Yeah.
coke, ketamine. I was like slowly killing myself with drugs, hanging
Hmm.
around with the wrong people. You know,
Yep.
I've told
Yep.
you stories. Yep, I
Yeah.
was in such a bad environment, but there's
Hmm.
still that little part of me that wanted to just get back out of that dip. And it is
Yeah.
hard. I see when some people are in that kind of space where you don't have anyone rooting for you, how easy it is to get sucked in. But I
Yeah.
just looked around me and I thought, I mean, I sent you the picture, I think. The person I was living with got into like intravenous drugs. I found a whole shelf full of needles, like, and spoons for like heroin. I was like, right, okay, this is. I wasn't ever doing any of that though. Like, just to
No.
clarify, like, I wasn't doing that, but I was starting to come back out of things, and I saw that and thought, yeah, okay, I need to get out of this environment. And it's
It's a
actually when I
wake-up call
decided,
that that's not that big a step out some points, is it? Like,
yeah, if I would have completely given up and just given in, I still don't think I'd have gone that far, but I wouldn't. Being when you're depressed, it isn't just sad, is it? It's like when you feel hopeless.
mhm.
But when I got back to the gym, I mean, I hadn't been for like 6 months. Like I had lost a lot of weight and strength. I thought, fuck it, I'm just going to get there. I'm just going to deadlift. Like I think my best deadlift until before then was about like 320.
Yeah.
And day one, I didn't wear a belt. I just had my straps and thought I'll just see what I can do. And I pulled 220, and then I thought, okay, like the first time I ever pulled that, I was 18, and it was a bit of a grinder, and this wasn't that bad. I sent it to Josh, and he's like, well, you know, you just pulled that after like destroying yourself for like 6 months, so
Yeah.
you know, it's a start. It's you know, it's something. And then 5 months later, I competed my first inters comp and first comp for a number of years actually, and I pulled 320 again. So it's like very short space of time. But in that space of time is actually where I started training at. Then it was called Titanium Strength Gym in Sheffield. It's where I met everyone at Sheffield Strongman Club. I remember it was her name's Becky. I remember exactly the day I was deadlifting. I pulled 290, and she came up to me and was like, "Do you do strongman?" I was like, "Yeah." And then she introduced me to a guy called Dave who like runs the club. I'm in the group chat, and then suddenly like you're just friends with
Aw,
everyone.
that's so
And
sweet.
it literally is like that though. It just all kind of happened. It was about 2 years ago, maybe three. I can't remember. I think 3 years ago actually. And then we've moved to a different location now at Structure, and it's just got bigger. And I think
Yeah.
in all that time, I've made sure I surround myself with positive people that actually
Yeah.
want to encourage, like uplift. I just any sort of like negativity or someone that's just they don't want what's good for you. It's not
Mm.
pushing them away. It's just cutting that out and just saying like, look, not compatible. So
Yeah.
done. It's like
That's really true. I think I'm quite new to having boundaries like that within sport.
don't mind
Like,
to be fair.
and it's so, it does make a difference. Even things like Instagram, you have the
Yeah.
choice to follow who you want to follow. You don't have to see the things that annoy you all the time or the people that
Oh
you
yeah.
see. Like there's certain people that you see, just seeing what they're doing, it just brings something and it's like, oh, just go and fucking mute them or unfollow them.
Yeah.
And
It's like just shut up. Or I could just not you're not telling them to shut up. You just go and done. Silence.
yeah,
Like I don't
yeah,
have to see that.
no.
I've tried to like use Instagram, like social media in general. Like I just try and use it less now. I
Mm,
Instagram, I use it as like almost like a training archive for me.
yeah,
Like I really could not care less about views, following an algorithm or a trend or posting some. I'm not going to say cringe because it's different for everyone, but I roll my eyes at a lot of these captions I see where it's like you're not at war, you know, you're at a gym. You know,
yeah.
it's a metaphorical battle. I get it, but like it's quite dramatic. If it helps them, it helps them. But like,
I feel like I'm probably guilty of the odd dramatic caption, but
no, 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 no. Like I've actually unfollowed people who have put these so over the top. Like, they've written essays, and it's like you be
oh, yeah,
feminist with
no.
something. Like, but if it means something to them, fine. If it's negatively affecting me, it's nothing personal. I just don't want to see it. And it's like
Yeah.
people that just moan. And then just like there was a guy we used to follow. Oh my god, like he would just moan on his stories like every single day about the same thing. And it's like, what are you, this is boring. Like it was funny at first. Like you think, oh, he's having a moan about something, but then it's like, this is bad. Like you need help. Like
Yeah.
just you don't need to go to Instagram and social media to vent all this. Just live your life outside of it, and I promise it's better.
Yeah.
Like yeah, I still scroll reels because I have some ridiculous, like stupid memes that come up a lot of the
Oh,
time.
I
It's
like the
like I
funny
can,
nonsense ones.
yeah, just nonsense. You can just shut your brain off for like 10 minutes after a long day and just scroll a bit. But then it's like right, done. Like let's. I'm off that now. I'm being more productive, and then you're not sucked into that own little like negative spiral.
The one that, well, one of the things that annoys me is entitlement. There was one person that I unfollowed recently that, again, essay, absolute essay. And it was just, I poured my heart and soul into blah, blah, blah. I only PB'd by 5 kilos. I wanted like 20. And it's like, I can't stand you from
What
this
you want isn't
one.
what you get. Like if that was
Yeah,
me,
I'd be thrilled. Like
that's
I've
nothing.
gone years without being able to PB. I would take a kilo or two or like five. I'd be thrilled. Oh, it was only five. Shut the fuck up. Like
Yeah, like
honestly.
you need to assess why. Like look at
Yeah,
your nutrition, hydration, recovery, your sleep, your programming, literally everything you have control over. A program is just a template. Like
yeah.
you can follow it, but if you're not committing to it, you're not going to get the results. Like it's
But
not hard.
also, we're not talking about someone with your numbers either. We're talking about someone with probably kind of like my numbers, and it's like 20 kilos onto like a squat, I think it was. It's
That's
like
a big
that's
percentage.
probably just under 20%.
Yeah, so just yeah, I just think there's a healthy way to go about it. And like I'm guilty of it. Like in the past, if I had a bad session, it would affect me. And
Yeah,
like I've said to Shane, like on True Code, just like, yeah, it was a crap session. Like I got in my own head. I've got way better at that later. So
yeah,
as time has gone on, like when I have a log session now, I try and again like reframe things a bit. If it's a bit challenging, if it's different, it's like, well, okay, it's still contributing to progress. Like it will pay off because I look at competition as when it pays off. Like
yeah,
if you have one bad session in the prep, I think it's something I got from his coach actually. It's like he was talking about when you look at like a peak. If you're peaking for a comp, like you got 4 weeks, you're peaking, and you have one bad session. Like you've got an important session, like your last heavy session. If you miss the weight, it's actually not the end of the world. It's just the stimulus your body's responding to. Like, yeah, you
yeah,
wanted to hit that number, it would have been good, but all the fatigue that's built up to that point, it's just your body saying, back off, like, focus on recovery. It
yeah,
matters in competition in 2 weeks or 3 weeks. And so long as you've done everything that you should and you can control, then what you get is what you get. Like, or what you get is what you deserve. Because if you've put the effort in and you've done everything right that you can control, you'll get that back. If
yeah.
you've just half-assed it and just expected it to go well, you're expecting too much.
I don't think I have ever had a good comp run up. Like genuinely, I don't think I've
No,
ever had like an opener session that's gone how I want it to. Like, I don't think I ever have. I can't think of many friends that have either. So
no,
when
I
people
don't think
come to
I ever
me,
have.
like people that I coach, they'll be like, "Oh, I couldn't hit my openers today," and I'm like, "Good."
Yeah, that
Like, what
shows
do
the
you mean,
peak is
good?
working.
I'm like, good. They would be like, I don't want to think what would happen if you did well today because I've never experienced it. That feels cursed in a way.
But it
Like,
isn't
this
a
has
way
to
though.
go
Like
terribly.
I put in our coaching group chat. It's like it was the lead up to England's qualifier. I just said like, is it normal to feel this shit? And they're like, welcome to peaking. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, like your body is completely taxed after however many weeks, and you're
Mm.
now putting like maximal loads on it.
Yeah.
You haven't got rid of that fatigue yet, so it's going to be bad. If you can get through like the peak uninjured and you still hit pretty much everything, if you hit everything perfect, if it's a grinder but you still got it, just think how easy it will be after you've deloaded or tapered and you've had that time to give your body the rest it needs.
Yeah.
Then it will work out. Like
Yeah.
just you can't be entitled to progress because you need to put the effort in.
Yeah. No, it's infuriating. And I think you see a lot of new people come in and out of sports as well that they make the newbie gains and they have the linear progress for a little bit. And then
Yeah.
as soon as that stops, they feel that they're entitled to that to continue. And it doesn't, and they just drop off. And it's like, this isn't this isn't how this works.
I just
Like,
remember, like, that reminded me, it was someone, I can't remember who it was, and they were doing either push press or strict press out of the rack, and they did like a real grinder of 100 kilos, and then I read the caption, they were like, "Oh, 120 wasn't there today." I was like, "What? What? Obviously not." I'm not being rude, but it was like an RPE 9, and
yeah.
then you whack on 20 kilos to an over. It's like smaller muscles being used, isn't it? Like a 20-kilo jump on an overhead PB. And literally, it was like it unwrapped and was like that. Not there today. Well, no. And it's not even
Right.
like you unwrapped it just to feel the weight, because sometimes that can help. Like just
Mm.
getting used to a heavier load. But actually, then attempting the weight, it's like, no, you just got too greedy. You
Really,
just
yeah.
thought that progress was linear
Yeah.
and you could get that just because. It just doesn't happen.
I think a lot of people miss out on PBs by doing that as well, though, because I
Yeah.
know a lot of people that would have done the 100 and then they're like, oh, 110. You know, there's fractionals. If it was close, I'm like, I might have a little bit more. Like, I will take a 2 kilo PB because why would I fail a 5 kilo if I could have the 2 kilo? Like, I'm going to regret that. I'll take the two.
And plus, it's 2 kilos more. It's still more weight. So it counts. Like some
Yeah.
people just have this, they're hung up about things like fractional plates. Like I think it depends on, again, like the power lifts. Something where
Yeah.
you can like put a very controlled, like equal weight on a bar. Like a sandbag for strongman, though. They
Yeah.
do kind of just come in set weights. Like we've got a bunch now, but like you got like from 100 onwards, it's like 100, 110, 20, 30, 40. You can empty sand out, but like it's a pain in the ass.
Yeah.
And it can make the sandbag a bit looser. Just do the 120. If you've got the 110, no, you don't need to do a fractional sandbag increase.
No,
Just
that's
do the 120. Because again, your body hasn't got a clue what a kilogram is. It's just more resistance. Just get
yeah.
strong enough to overcome that resistance and you'll be fine. That's all it is. Numbers don't matter. They don't
No.
they don't exist. It's all just
I think
mass.
that is fair. And I think with like certain lifts as well, like a deadlift, I can't see me ever putting on 1 kilo or 2 kilo because I'm like,
No.
that's. I think if you're somebody that maybe is super new and literally like 40 kilos was a grind, like, yeah, maybe use some fractionals because percentage wise it's up there. But
Yeah.
like, if I've done 150 before, I'm not going 151. But a strict press, like, yeah, I'm going to go with the 1 kilo because it falls off a cliff, like,
Yeah. Yeah.
very
With
quickly.
pressing is just a weird one. If you're not conditioned either to strict pressing because you do a lot of push pressing, you'll
Mhm.
find very quickly your shoulders just burn out.
Yeah.
But like with a deadlift, I think for some people, with it being a bigger lift where you're hitting bigger numbers, mentally, some people need. I follow a guy and he's strong. Like I think he's been making very consistent progress over the last like 8 years. And he was going for I think a 300 kilo PB, and he got it. But it's like his last warm up was like 290. I
Mm.
just think in terms of mentally, he might have just needed that to know
Yeah.
that just that extra 10 kilos was there. But in my eyes, you're wasting energy because if you can hit 300 after 290, you could have hit it anyway. A
Yeah.
10% jump is from 270. So if you just did 270 as your last warm up, it's literally just a 10% jump then. And obviously, as the weights get bigger and bigger and bigger, you gain more sort of confidence, but also knowledge about how your body works and how you can
Yeah.
adapt to bigger weights. Like I said earlier, when I eventually get to pull 400, I'm not going to pull like 390 beforehand.
No.
It's like
Yeah.
that's gonna be everything I've got. I'm not then gonna. I might as well just do it for a double if I was gonna go for
Yeah.
400. But
Whereas if I
it's
was going to go for 150 again, like I would probably do 140, but that's a very different percentage for me than it is for you. From 390 to 400 is, I mean, I can't do the
100%.
math, but it's extremely different.
360 would be 90%. 380 would be 95%. So you're looking at over 95% of your max, which is
Yeah.
ridiculous to hit before going for a PB. But I think you get to a certain point with numbers too. Like I don't really, like I said, I don't really fixate on numbers now. But there's still milestones that you want to hit.
Yeah,
Like
of
for
course.
any strongman, like open weight or even some weight class guys are getting close to that. I think the under 90 record is 400. So any strongman is going to want to pull 400. If I was in a max comp and that was a possibility, and you could call your own weights, I wouldn't say, I can win the comp by doing 390. Yeah, but I'm just going to want 400. Like, I would
Yeah.
actually take a second place finish on a deadlift and miss 400 than
Yeah.
just get a secure first for 390, because then you're just going to be wondering, like, I'd had all that time to peak. I can't just go straight back in and do 400 a couple of weeks later. So
No.
it's a
No.
time sink as well, isn't it? Like, you want to make the most of it.
Absolutely.
I
Yeah.
actually follow some people who used to be coached by Shane, and one of them is actually down south and trains with someone who used to be at Fratton Gym. And as soon as he stopped working with Shane, immediately every week I just see them go for a top single. They'll miss a weight. Oh, it'll be there next week. It's like, no, it won't. Like, that's not how it works.
Nope.
And it's a shame to see, because okay, a coach isn't for everyone, but surely you can see the long term progress. And if
Yeah.
you just stop that and then just expect to suddenly, without a coach, make huge progress just going heavy,
Yeah.
I don't know what to tell you.
I think as an athlete as well, like when you get into it, you know when it's appropriate to like go off program and when it's not. Because
Yeah,
like,
like I've got on Saturday, one of my things I've got to do is sandbag the shoulder. Got to do an AMRAP with a certain weight for a minute, fair enough. And then a heavier weight, he said, for 2 to 3 reps. And it's like, well, I want to aim for three.
yeah,
If three is that easy, I will try a fourth. I'm not
yeah,
going to do a fourth if it will be a grinder,
no,
but he wouldn't be mad if I did get an easy fourth. It's like, okay, the progress is there, it's happening.
yeah,
Like, it's not really going off program. It's not like I'm going to go, oh, that bag was easy. I'm going to use this really heavy one now and try and grind out a single and hurt my back. That's just silly.
it's silly. But yeah, I see it all the time. Yeah, same as you, and it's frustrating, and it's quite often a real big waste of potential
Yeah,
because
you can't tell them.
nope.
They don't want it. They don't want it.
That's very true. Well, they're lost, and I think you're obviously doing very well. So you're a testament to like just follow the process, trust it.
Trust the process and you get results.
Yeah.
Literally easy. Just do what you're told.
Seems pretty simple, doesn't it? But here
On
we are.
paper.
I do, yeah, I get it. I get why people get impatient and stuff. And I'm sure that there are times as a younger athlete that I would have done the
Oh, I
same,
would have,
but
yeah.
it's just learning and being self-aware, I think, like being willing to look at yourself and think, what could I have done better? And then not just do it again next week because it's fun.
The best advice though is if you're peaking, or like you're following a program to say hit a new max PB, if you're 3 weeks out from the testing day and you think, things felt good, so I went a bit heavy, things feel good because the program's working.
Yeah.
So keep doing that. And then when it comes to actually testing it, you will pull
Yeah.
so much more than if you just did it 3 weeks too soon.
Yeah.
Patience and discipline.
Yeah.
I've been doing this for like over a decade, pretty much.
It's
Like,
crazy.
not all of that's been dedicated training, but it's still consistent.
Yeah.
You can't just do it for a few months and then think, I'm not pulling more records yet, so sod it.
No. But you do get people that fall into it. They have all the right genetics. They seem to like find the right sport for them. They have this flying progress and they're like, "Oh, I'm close to making English or this or that." And then, well, it's like I say earlier, they just drop off because they realize that actually
They burn out.
that's not enough. You have to continue to put the hard work in and do your accessories and do the like non-cool stuff that doesn't look great on Instagram, no one cares about.
Cardio
Like
and conditioning. That's what
you have
everyone
to do
forgets.
that. Yeah. And they don't do it because they're like, no, I'm too great. I don't need to do that. I'm just a natural talent.
Yeah, you can't just coast on that forever.
Nope.
There is, when you get that rare mix of someone that has that, but also that dedication, you can get something special. And it
Yeah.
just makes you think how many people that could have been who just didn't want it. But then if you
Yeah.
don't want it, then
Yeah. That's completely fair.
yes,
It's
yeah,
the ones
get
that
it.
they do want it, but they only want it because their ego. It's not because they want to work for it. They're the ones
Yeah,
that get like
there's
get
zero point having an ego. Like, it's again stressful having an ego. That's why
yeah.
I don't even bother talking about numbers anymore. I just talk about progress. It's like, as long as I'm hitting the numbers I'm programmed, then that's progress.
Yeah.
So what more can you want?
Yeah. That's what we do it for.
Exactly.
I feel like we've yapped for a long time.
I've never yapped so much in my life. I love it.
It's good. It's been a good episode, I think. I think
I've
we've got a
enjoyed
lot
it.
out there. And something different as well, because I feel like a lot of these episodes are going to be weightlifters probably. And
Hmm.
actually, it's quite nice to have somebody from a completely different sport, but also going through different types of training with it to give like a completely different perspective and
Yeah,
quite a refreshing perspective on quite a lot of it, honestly.
I try and because it ties in so much with mental, like my mental health, and like I talked about, like the community around you. If you, I enjoy it too much to hate it, so I
Yeah,
don't want to burn myself out by holding myself for that standard I used to hold myself to. I'm
yeah,
just, I'm happy to progress. Just keep going. What did I say earlier? Stop and smell the roses. Just enjoy
yeah.
the journey, the people that you're with. So when I am eventually, like, if I make it to 60 or 70 and my peak years are behind me, I can say, do you know what? That was actually quite fun. I remember that day.
Yeah,
That was fun. That I'll have my Instagram there going through my archives. I
that's
remember
true.
pulling that 400, and I can just then be that old guy that talks about what he could use to lift
Have you watched the US Office?
years ago. Yeah,
There's that when Andy Bernard says in one of the episodes, it's like, I wish you knew that the good old days were there when you were
yeah,
like in them, or something like that. I've butchered it, but something like that. Either way, it's
yeah. I know
inspiring.
what you mean. I can't think of the quote either, but yeah, it's very apt because it is fun. I think I say when I met everyone at the gym, it was only a few years ago. So just keep that going.
Yeah, for sure. Well,
For
anyone
sure.
that is listening for this and is negative and all of these things, like me, listen.
Be positive. It's more fun.
Yeah, take something away from this because I need to. Well, good luck next month. Obviously, I will see you there, but on
Yeah,
behalf
I'll
of
see you at
all of
Hampshire's.
this, good luck at Hampshire's. I'm sure you're going to smash it. Excited to see what you do.
Have you seen the trophies?
Have I seen the trip? No. Are they
They're cool.
cool? Oh my God.
So he goes all out with Hampshire's. Ben Glasscock, who runs it. I think podium finishers for all weight classes. They've got like an SBD package. The winner of the Opens, it's custom made, the Gladiator helmet from Gladiator, like the
That's
Spartacus one with like the. I'll send it to you on it after
that's
this.
so cool.
But it looks so
Oh.
cool. Like I don't want a plastic trophy. I want a Spartacus helmet.
Is this the one that you sent me that had spaces still available to compete
That was,
a few weeks ago?
think that was Hampshire's and Wiltshire's, to be fair.
If I wasn't broken, maybe next year I'll
Yeah,
come
I was
and
going to
get a little
say,
helmet.
you doing a Conan's wheel with a bad ankle.
No, but I do really want to do a Conan's wheel. I think I've got that. I think
I
that's
think that would be
really
the
good for
worst
me.
event to do with a torn ligament
That's so true, and I want to win a helmet.
next time. They've been getting bigger every year, so next year at Hampshire's,
Good.
you might get a full
Okay.
suit of armour.
Next year, hopefully I'll have a ligament again.
Yeah, aim for
And I
that then.
can come,
Ligaments next year,
I can
strong
come
woman
back.
debut,
Okay,
and you
I'm
get a
in.
helmet. And a helmet,
Yeah,
yeah.
in.
It will happen.
Yeah, hopefully. Hopefully. Right. Well, thank you so much for your time today. This has
Thank
been
you.
a wonderful, wonderful session. And yeah, anyone that's watching, follow Tom if you wish. It's at what up Watto.
Yeah, I
I will
made it my
tag.
name on this.
Yeah, I saw that. I was just like, yeah. I will tag in the comments in case you want to follow Tom. There's some very impressive lifts in there and lots to come. So jump on the bandwagon early before it's cringe because it'd be late.
Never
Cool.
cringe.
No, follow him anyway. Even if you listen to this in 10 years, just follow him. Good. Right. Thanks for
Thank
listening.
you.